Hey everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining in from. This is Prashanto Kochavara. I'm the Director of Product at Trilio, and today I'm going to be talking about improving cloud-native mobility and resiliency with GotoEdge capabilities, and all of this powered through TrilioVault for Kubernetes. So what I'll do is I'll quickly start off by giving a quick overview of who Trilio is. I have about 3 to 4 slides around, how we enable, GoToEdge resiliency as well as, allow you to, manage your applications between multiple environments. And then I have a quick demo that we'll, quickly wrap up everything with. So to begin with, TrilioVault, we've been around for about 8 years. We have products, and we are the pioneers and the leaders for data protection, data management for OpenStack, Red Hat Virtualization environments, and now we are spearheading the Kubernetes space as well. All our technology is patented. It's a global organization with customers in almost every kind of vertical that you can think of. And all the products and the solutions that I'm going to be talking about right now, it's all certified, validated, and trusted by the leading, the leading cloud native sources in the, what we see in the world today. So folks like Red Hat, SUSE, VMware, and IBM. Now, what is the GoToEdge cloud native challenge? So one thing that we know is that data is created everywhere, right? You have a lot of edge sites that are getting spawned, in which you have a lot of data that is getting created. Now, obviously, there is so much data that is created across these different edge sites. You are looking for patterns. This is where your artificial intelligence, machine learning, every aspect of that comes into play, so that you can derive more intelligence and to obviously use those in your workflows to improve revenue or any other kind of business objectives that you may have. So it becomes very important that you are able to send or actually analyze your data from your edge site into an environment where you have massive amount of computing available, and then get some insights, intelligence from it, and send those patterns and those learnings back to the edge sites. So what happens is you continuously need to ensure that your data is getting curated on one end, sent to the core or the public cloud, wherever it may be running. Define your actionable insights on top of them and send them back to the edge. So this kind of a pattern is becoming more and more real over time, especially when we think about landscapes like Internet of Things. There's so much data that is being created in your multiple sites. You want to be able to understand, how do you get the most intelligence out of it. And as of today, folks have been using it, but they haven't been able to get the real value out of their IoT kind of deployments or their Kubernetes deployments. And now Trilio, because of its capabilities of not only protecting your clusters and your applications, but also the ability to move your applications around, everything becomes a easy possibility. Now, what does Trilio provide, right? So at the very base layer, it's a completely Kubernetes native platform. As long as it's a Kubernetes centric distribution, CNCF conformant, Trilio will support that out of the box. There is no additional configuration or anything needed. You just install it and it is guaranteed to run. From a application perspective as to how we communicate with the application, obviously to talk to the metadata components, we leverage the Kubernetes API server. But when we talk to the storage components, we go through the CSI layer and communicate with the persistent volumes over there. And obviously now from a storage perspective as to once we capture all the information where we end up storing it, we allow users to create S3 compatible and NFS compatible storage devices and use that as backup repositories. Now, obviously, your Kubernetes clusters could be running anywhere. It could be running in any of the hyperscaler environments, could be running in your private data center, however it may be happening. Now, no matter where you are running, as long as you have Trilio running in those clusters, you will be able to port, move, manage your applications as one gigantic data fabric without any complications. And then finally, what we allow you to do is, we are an application-specific product. So whether you are managing your applications just based on namespaces or just based on Helm charts or operators or labels, whatever and however you end up defining or managing it, we have you covered. So no matter the deployment aspect, you can move your entire app from one side to another through click of a button. Now, overall, this is the architecture, right, that we've been talking about. You have multiple edge clusters. Apologize, I think there is a transition on the slide. I'm just going to take that out. Okay, so building this out again. So you have multiple edge clusters. We are using SUSE Rancher as an example over here. You have your micro-K8s clusters running multiple environments, and now through Trilio's capability of data migrations or data portability, application portability, you can get that into a core data center for analysis. Depending upon the amount of compute required for the analysis, you can obviously just run it in your core to save costs, or you can head over to a public cloud environment like AWS and perform additional or leverage more computing power to do whatever you need to do for an analysis perspective. So overall, depending on, we are calling this edge to go to cloud, but it can also be cloud to edge to core or core to cloud to edge, however you end up looking at it, because the edge is still a term in the end, how you segregate and how you define your environment to be. But the crux of the item here is that Trilio enables you to move your applications no matter where your environments are running. And then what happens with all of this is that we flow with you throughout your life cycle of your application, right? So from day zero as to when that stateful application is built, to day one when it is running in production, to day two where you hit issues in production, Trilio is supporting you and working with you throughout that application lifecycle journey. And as part of this journey, there are going to be a lot of reasons where you will want to move these apps from one environment to another, or get a point in time capture of the application itself. However it may be, whatever mobility, portability needs or interests that you have, through Trilio now you can support all of this. Okay, now to kind of put it all into picture, what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly share my screen and go through a quick overview of the Trilio console. Okay, so Ron, can you see what screen are you seeing right now?
I am seeing a terminal handling connection.
Okay, so that's the wrong screen. Let's try this. Okay, can you see?
Now it's namespaces WordPress demo.
Perfect, great. So what we have over here right now is we have the a core cluster here, which is a cluster that is in the cloud. This is an EKS cluster, and then we have a Rancher cluster also connected over here. And what we're going to be doing, we're going to be doing a capture of an application in the core, and then we will be moving that into the edge side. So I think in the interest of time, Ron, how are we doing on time? Do I have enough time to go through everything, or do you think I should
We've got
be
it.
good
You
with
want to
this?
keep it about 7 or so minutes more, okay? 7, 8 minutes.
Okay,
We're okay.
sounds good.
By the way,
Sounds
I
good.
know, let me know. I mean, there are challenges when you switch. People are losing the display. So as I see a lot of the feedback here, I just want to make sure everyone could see your screen, because when we switched over, it just didn't work. So let's, can
Should I just
everyone
take
see
a?
that now? I think I want to make sure everyone could see the namespaces.
Okay,
Yep, I think we're all good now. Okay.
great. Okay, so in the interest of time, we are going to assume that the backup has already happened, and what we'll do here now is we will go ahead and actually perform a restore. So our backup happened from the EKS environment, and what we'll do now is we will go into the target itself, that is the backup repository. Okay, and this was a item that I had captured just before the webinar, so we'll use this to do our restore. And it's a WordPress application that we are basically moving from the cloud to our Rancher cluster. So once you go into a target, you find the backup that you're interested in, you can click on restore. You can give it a name. I'm going to just make this a little bit unique. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the namespace, we're going to look at it as restore NS number 3. We'll use this flag skip if already exists. What this technically does is if there are any existing items and you don't want to overwrite them, you can use this flag to do that. Now, as part of restoring into this other cluster, what we understand is that you may have different, uh, storage classes that are being used within the edge cluster and different storage classes that you have within your cloud or your core clusters. So what we allow you to do is, we allow you to basically select your objects or your persistent volumes, give it a transformation name, and we allow you to change the storage class that these objects are using directly on the fly. I believe the one we use over here is CSI host path SC. Just going to quickly confirm that. CSI host path SC, that is correct. And then once I do this, you can click on apply, save. We can confirm that we are actually manipulating the storage on the fly. Click on save, and this will start the overall restore process. Now, as part of the restore process, what happens is, we'll firstly do a validation to ensure that, uh, everything is correctly defined in terms of how we want to restore the application. We can go into the cluster level, look at this in terms of the status log. It's still in the target validation process. So this will take a few minutes to go through the overall restore workflow, and then once the restore workflow is complete, we'll have the overall application available here itself. So in the interest of time, Ron, do we have any questions or anything that I can help answer at the moment?
Let me check. There are some that I am quickly trying to address, along with trying to answer some of the questions, so we get all the technology in place. One question. How does Trilio handle insider threats once you're completely migrated to the cloud? That's a broad-based question. Again, if you could quickly answer that, great. If not, we can answer that separately offline.
Insider threats, and so I'm going to talk about it broadly at the security level. So, a few things that Trilio provides as part of its platform is, we have features like encryption and immutability, and a lot of ransomware focused features coming into the product. And What we are doing as part of that is, we are enabling users to firstly identify and protect their overall inventory. Secondly, we are allowing them to detect. So in case we notice, any kind of security, it could be ransomware, it could be, just anomalies like someone's trying to delete your backups or get, unwanted access. So anything other than the norm or the baseline that you define, anything on those lines, we will basically flag that. We will surface that to the user. We have integrations into a lot of notification tools as well, and we let you know that hey, something weird is going on. And then from the third pillar, which is the recoverability pillar, we allow you to, do isolation testing. We allow you to do, uh, a single workflow to restore all your applications. So basically, you get the capability to, not only firstly identify and protect, detect, mitigate, but also recover in a very, very quick fashion. So those are the different aspects in terms of how we handle security threats in general. On top of that, we have validated our own product in terms of the security standards and the security measures that we have in place. So we've been validated by all the industry experts in terms of how the TrilioVault product itself has been constructed. So we go through rigorous validations and checks with every release with Red Hat IBM to ensure that Trilio is putting its best foot forward in terms of the security that is built into the product. Just for an example, one of the things that we do and we do pretty well is all our service accounts. We end up creating those service accounts at runtime. So the service accounts, are not just sitting in the cluster for someone to come in and compromise. It's only as part of a backup operation, which is triggered through the control plane will those service accounts be created. So we have all these different kinds of, again, my answer was broad, but we have these different kinds of checks, whether it is a, specialized attack like ransomware or whether it is something else. We have you covered from different areas.
Hey, Prashanto,
Mm-hmm.
as we're finishing up, maybe in the last couple of minutes, there's so much cool technology, but organizations currently probably have some kind of backup or data protection solution currently in place, though
Mm-hmm.
probably doesn't work, I would imagine, from what I've heard when you've presented at lots of previous shows, doesn't work as well. Can you share maybe one example of how Trilio and your team works with organizations when they like this and they don't want to completely rip and replace and start from scratch, how you go about successfully deploying this and integrating this with, let's say, a quote unquote typical organization. And much like our previous speaker, maybe in the slides that we make available for downloading, you can make sure we've got lots of use cases that show different scenarios. But if you could talk about the deployment configuration strategies, that might be helpful as we finish up.
Sure. So from a deployment angle, so firstly, to answer the first part of your question, yes, traditional legacy data protection solutions are not going to be able to fit the cloud native run because the architecture is completely different in terms of how cloud native applications are built, as well as how they are operated. There is equal importance given to the developer side of the equation as well as the ops, and it's pretty much a team sport and how the solution needs to be leveraged. So, as you see this TrilioVault solution, the way we built it, even if you're a developer or you're an ops admin, you can use it, the same way, and everything will be based on your role-based access control. From a deployment perspective, how easy it is to get started with all of this. We are a simple, operator-based application deployable via Helm charts. So from beginning to finish, in terms of deploying the app and actually performing your first backup, it shouldn't take you more than 5 minutes. If your Kubernetes cluster is operational and running, it shouldn't take you more than 5 minutes to get Trilio up and running and perform your first backup. And then if I count the time over here, about 7 minutes to do your restore as well. So you can actually get started with all of this very, very quickly. And Yeah, so no, I'm not sure if I'm answering your question correctly, but
Yeah,
from the
I
deployment
think
angle, we made.
the key takeaway is Trilio's lots of expertise. They can help you get their solution deployed. And that's really, I think, the key takeaway is that as you're getting more cloud oriented applications, cloud native, container based applications, you want new solutions that will clearly work, that are clearly compliant, and most importantly, take minutes, not hours or days or weeks to configure. And I think the timing, as much as anything else, is something that I know the Angel community likes to hear.
Exactly, exactly. And just to kind of add the finishing touch on this, we see the application has been restored. The storage class has been changed as well. It's CSI host path SC, and when we did actually start doing the restore, and we had seen that application in the target browser, that time we can actually confirm. We can confirm that the persistent volume was on a different storage class. So, going from core to edge or edge to core to cloud, however you do it, we have we can tweak your application. We can massage the application to ensure that you are firstly resilient, as well as you're able to operate it from a data management perspective successfully.
That's great. I'm going to finish it up to keep things moving along. Great insights, and we appreciate Prashanto and the Trilio organization. Encourage everyone to take advantage of it. Plus, we have it on tape now that it should only take minutes, not hours. So I encourage you to follow up with Prashanto and hold him and the Trilio team accountable for those kind of solutions. And I say that in all seriousness because I know they can deliver. Thanks so much, Prashanto.
Thank you so much, Ron.